And welcome to episode 8, Micro Walk, part of John's Eclectic Photo Story Time Adventure. John believed that nature whispered its secrets not through grandeur, but through the small, the subtle, the nearly invisible. He had been a nature photographer for years, often venturing deep into the wild landscapes, but lately his fascination had turned inward, into the microcosm. He found magic not in sweeping valleys or towering peaks, but in the little worlds that most people stepped over without notice. The interior of a flower, the fleck of an insect's wings, the colors dancing on a blade of grass at dawn. On this particular spring morning, John entered the woods with his camera bag slung over his back and trusted macro lens already mounted. He had no specific goal. The force would decide what he saw today. The light was perfect, filtered through budding branches, dappling the undergrowth in gold and soft green. The air smelled of loam and promise. John took a long breath, dropped to a knee, and began to look closely. He spotted it on a gentle slope, lit like a stage under the shift of sunlight. A lone dandelion, mostly bald, its once fluffy head reduced to a few fragile stems. But it was what sat among those stems that stopped him cold. Two tiny insects, no larger than seeds, were perched atop the flower's base. They faced each other with such stillness and symmetry that John could not help but anthropomorphize that the posture of the long married couple in quiet conversation. The more he studied them, the more their positions seemed to speak, perhaps of love or loss or some unspoken understanding. He clicked the shutter. The moment felt like a poem, two lives, small but no less full, caught in the hush of the morning. Further into the woods, John knelt to retie his bootlace when something strange caught his eye in the moss. He brushed aside a fern, and there it was, a miniature statue, half buried in dirt and lichen. It looked hand-carved, aged by time, perhaps a forgotten garden ornament or an offering left years ago. The figure was a woman, robed and serene, one hand raised as if in blessing or farewell. He positioned his camera low, letting the moss rise around her like ancient forest. The image looked surreal, mythic, a goddess lost in the green. Dandelions were everywhere this time of year, but each one offered something different. On a particularly vivid bloom, a fly stood at its center, facing John's lens head on. Its compound eyes shimmered with subtle color, and its front legs were delicately raised like a boxer about to spar. He focused tightly. From this angle, the insect looked regal, dignified, almost commanding. He captured it mid-stare, the guardian of the golden gates. He paused before moving on, struck by the sheer texture of another dandelion head, this one intact, puffed and perfect. Through the macro lens, the globe of seeds became a galaxy. Each parachute-like filament curved with mathematical precision, catching and scattering the light. It was both fragile and eternal, a single breath away from becoming a wind-borne memory. The photo glowed with great energy. At the base of a tree, he found the hive of activity, an ant mound bustling with tiny lives. He lay flat on his stomach, marveling at the complexity, trails, traffic, purpose. The ant city pulsed with intent. Through his lens, a soldier ant with a fragment of bark appeared as mighty as a rhino. He caught her side mid-stride, a titan on a mission. The image hummed with the weight of work and duty. Later, in the late morning light, another fly caught his attention. This one stood still atop a dandelion, but unlike the first, it was not looking at him. It gazed off to the right, as if watching something unseen. Its stance was curious, contemplative. John shifted to frame the fly in profile, the curves of the dandelion beneath it like the cushions of a throne. The fly looked historic wistfully, as if waiting for something that might never return. Among the forest subtler shades, the splash of red was startling. A crimson flower bloomed defiantly from a patch of dry soil, its petals edged in gold. It had no idea what species it was, but it looked like it had been painted by fire. He closed in, catching the velvet texture, the luminous vines in each petal. It felt alive in a way color rarely does, like music rendered visible. Drawn by a gentle buzz, John watched a bee descend into another of the red gold flowers nearby. It clambered into the bloom with clumsy grace, its legs thick with pollen, its body vibrating with intent. He managed to get a clean shot of it mid-pollination, half submerged in color, collecting life. The bee looked triumphant, joyous even, nature doing what it had done for millennia, unaware of the lens or the man watching quietly. Before he left the woods, John paused at one last dandelion, standing on a slope that overlooked a creek. This one had no insects, no drama, just the flower, plain and perfect, turned to the light. It was a quiet exhale, a reminder that not every moment had to be wild to be worthy. He took the shot, not because it was spectacular, because it was real. That night, as he sorted through the photos in his cabin, John felt like he had walked through a dream made of soil and sunlight. 10 photos, 10 tiny worlds, 10 ways the forest had whispered to him. He titled the collection 10 Small Truths. When he published it, he did not add captions. He let the images speak for themselves. Intimate portraits of lives too small to shout, yet too beautiful to ignore. And in the quiet hearts of those who viewed them, something stirred, wonder perhaps, or remembrance. If you enjoyed Macro Walk, come join us for our next video series, Episode 9, Couples Discussion, and John's Eclectic Photo Story Time. Just to show that these pictures are not AI generated, here are the individual pictures with their supporting camera and lens data. Thank you again for watching Macro Walk. I hope you enjoyed today's presentation of Macro Walk. If you enjoyed this, please consider subscribing and hit the like button. Thank you.